started.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, I'm going to try e4 again, see if I can get a normal e4 type game. Monk Hammer from the US. Let's do the Ruy Lopez. And playing the main line, see if he wants to take the pawn. Ah, he plays the main line too, bishop e7. So here, what can I do? I think I got to defend the pawn now. And castles. Castles right away. That's an indication he might be playing the Marshall Gambit. So let's just play d3 here. See what he does. The normal move if you want to allow the Marshall Gambit is to play c3, but you don't have to play that. And now we can play knight c3. And yeah, he can try and grab the bishop pair like that. I'm going to go ahead and play my knight to d5. I can kick in c3 here if he doesn't grab the bishop right away. Okay, exchanged off all the pieces. Now I can support my d5 pawn. That's the idea of putting your knight on d5, is that you get a strong pawn there. So you have to make sure after it gets traded off you can actually support that pawn. Okay, so he's going with f5 here. Let's see, the bishop is supporting the rook, so there's no tricks with taking on b5 here. He's got the two bishops, and he can harass this knight. Where do I want to put my pieces? I think it's time to get the bishop moved, developed somewhere. Maybe the bishop to c3 and get it on this diagonal pointing at my opponent's king. And let's stop him from playing b5, b4. And now the queen on that diagonal also supports the c pawn and gets out of the way of any action on the d file. Maybe he's planning to bring a rook to d8 here, I'm not sure. He just wants to play that. So he's creating a backwards d pawn for himself here. But it does open up a line for his bishop, so maybe it's a good trade. Maybe it's a good idea for him. Okay, so he's lining up for a simple mate threat here. Well, you gotta respect that. So now if I push the pawn to disrupt his queen, he can take it. How about if I put my queen to this square? Now he can always play e4, but I can move my knight here, attacking his queen, and the pawn is momentarily blocking the mate threat. And if he pushes on to e3, then the knight can come back, or I can push my pawn to f3. whatever seems appropriate at the time. So he's going after this pawn. So what I was thinking was, is there some way to harass the queen here? Well, it looks like he's just going to win that pawn, so I guess if I play here, if he takes this pawn, I can trade and take that pawn. Keep the material balance.
Check.
At least I won't have to worry about getting mated here. And this passed pawn over here is potentially very dangerous. So, but he does get to double my pawns here. So, question is, can I make use of this advanced pawn here? Unfortunately, it's not on a square the bishop supports. The bishop, be nice if I had a light squared bishop to cover that diagonal, but I don't. So let's see what I can do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess the idea would be to bring the other pawn up in support. So how could this go? Say I played b4 immediately. He takes the bishop. I play b5. He can get behind it. And I'm a little too slow for b6. So I want to do something with this bishop. Maybe just protecting it. Or maybe I put it over here. Now I'm threatening b4 and b5, and he can't get behind it because on that square the bishop is covering that. Okay, he's attacking my bishop, and he's threatening to go to to the b2 square and attack the pawn at the same time. Is there any clever way any tactical way to defend that? If I push ahead with the pawn, let him take, and then I could get behind. Looks like I need to get out of the way here. Okay, I'm trying to defend this way. Not ideal. But maybe it's good enough. It's on a light square at least, so his his bishop can't harass it there. But I can't quite figure out how to cover. I'm going to get my rook up to the second rank so I can get to that square, b2, which is I can cover with the bishop. So I'm moving my king here so I can play my rook up like that. So this game illustrates one of the differences between the middle game and the opening and the end game. So in the middle game and the opening, you want to have a lot of center pawns because it gives you a lot of control over how the game develops and the placement of your pieces. But as the game progresses towards the end game, the wing pawns become important. And if you've got some unblocked pawns on the edge of the board, this can often be a winning advantage. And we'll see if this works out here. It's just that if his king has to go over here to stop these pawns, then his king will be out of play. And there's even the idea of sacrificing those pawns and winning these pawns in the center. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes here. Played the pawn up to, it protects the pawn on the A file here. And it keeps the king out of that square. Now, though, I can push a pawn with tempo, which is probably good. Let's see, I push and the bishop has to move. And if it goes back to either square, I can push ahead and attack the rook. And then the rook has to come forward. Well, or it could go to that square. So I push bishop there, I push rook there, and then bishop there. It looks like I'm winning material here with this transaction. Yeah, so his bishop really only has two squares. He could sack the bishop here and yeah, that's what he did. Okay, that's a try. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So a bishop for 2 pawns. I mean, 1 pawn for a bishop should not be enough. But you still have to be careful. He might be able to win one of those other pawns and get a game here somehow. The fact that these pawns are controlling all of these squares is kind of annoying. And if I move my rook off of this file, then his rook can take that pawn. So I'm going to save my bishop, and only square I can go to is that square, it looks like. And next I'm going to try and activate my king, if he lets me. Okay, so we get a pure bishop endgame, and this should be a win for me, but we'll see what happens. He's got to push this pawn immediately to keep my king out. Yeah, he didn't do that. So now I get my king to this square here, the D5 square. Oh, he can do that. Okay, never mind. Yep, so he's in time to get there. He will push that pawn with check. So where do I want my bishop to be? I think after he pushes this pawn is weak, so I want to be attacking it. But if I put my bishop here on c3, then he can push with check, I go here, he pushes again and attacks the bishop. And I don't want that. This game may end up being a draw. Okay, so here... Okay, my next strategy is to try and bring my king around in this route.
Check.
Aha. Right, he defends there. So let's see if I can attack from behind.
Check.
Let's see. From this square I can attack that pawn. And from this square I can attack this pawn. So it seems like I want to be on this diagonal over here. Or possibly this diagonal over here. But over here his king can come and chase my bishop away. So I think this other diagonal is more attractive. Okay, let's go there. What's he going to do? At some point he's got to push a pawn here. And there we go.
Check. Check.
So let's see, if I push a pawn here, that pretty much guarantees that I can't win. But looks like I'm playing for a draw at this point anyway. Well, let's keep it like this for a while, see what he does. Aha.
Check. Check.
Yeah, I have nothing better than to repeat moves, so he played this endgame part quite well. Well, take a look at this in a post-mortem. Oh, he's going to push ahead, okay. I mean, it's always okay to try for a win here. Now, if I take and he takes, it's my move, which is actually not what I want. Let's, okay, I take, he takes, I go here, he advances, and I have to move and step out of the way, so he wins that king and pawn ending. So, if I move my king, oh no, I can't move my king sideways, I have to move the bishop. So let's go somewhere, maybe here. Yeah, looks like he can win this. Whoa. Pretty impressive. So he can push pretty much either pawn, right? Oh no, if he pushes this pawn, then, okay, I'm going to go to this square then. Now I can sack the bishop if I'm on this square. I take, he takes, I step in front of his king, and that's a draw. So those king and pawn endings are handy to know. It's funny, just depending on which square my king was on, that's either a loss or a draw. But in the previous position, he had to push a pawn forward and just try for a win somehow. I think if he had pushed the other pawn forward, that might have done it. We'll see how long he goes before he offers the draw. It's just a matter of repetition or okay, is that the third time? Let's see, F5, F5. Oh no, he's only been there twice, okay. You gotta wait till he hits that position 3 times, and then you can, then it's a draw. Okay, has he been to E4, 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 and I was on 4, F2. I think that's a draw.
Draw offered. Game drawn.
Okie doke. So a draw, I'm going to do a post-mortem. I think he had winning chances, and I think I could have won at some point too. It'd be interesting to take a look at that end game and see where it changed from 1 to loss for both of us. And I hope you guys enjoyed that. See you next time. Bye.